Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to what is, quite frankly, a very bittersweet day. This month's and our final Fireside Chat with Dr. Tim Cross, our Senior Vice President. We'll be sharing updated information on COVID-19 and the Delta variant, as well as sharing some other Institute and UT system news with you. Be sure to keep your audio muted so that everyone can hear the conversation. If you do have a question, please send it to me on chats, and you can do that both publicly or privately. Please also use the chat today for any sentiments you wish to share with Dr. Cross. We'll save them all and make sure he gets a copy. You'll also find a recording of this session on the coronavirus website, and you can find the link on our homepage at utia.tennessee.edu. So we'll jump right in. Tim, just when we thought this pandemic was going to leave us, here it's reared its ugly head again. Can you give us an update on COVID?
Well, I sure can, but I didn't expect to be doing that today. You know, I think several months ago, we all thought we had seen most of the end of the coronavirus, and yet here we go again. So I'll give a quick update and share some of the data that we continue to look at, broadly speaking, and then talk just a little bit about maybe some expected changes in guidance, and hopefully that'll get us all ready for the coming weeks. So with that, let me just share my screen and see if I can pull up the data that reflects where we're at today. Some of the data sources that I had been using previously are no longer there, so a little bit of this will look slightly different, but it is the same data, so bear with me. Starting with just a quick snapshot of positive cases of COVID for the UT Knoxville campus in its entirety, not including the Institute of Agriculture, off-campus folks in particular. I don't think we've got duplicates, so this is really the on-campus numbers as of today. And, you know, you look back in time, all the way back to September and August and July of 2020, you see we had a huge spike last in fall of 2020. Fall of 2021, as we enter late August here, you can see we're on an uptick again. Today, 61 positive cases among students, 20 positive cases among employees, and a total of 180 isolations or quarantines for the Knoxville campus. So that's nothing like the peak we saw in mid-September of last year when students returned to campus, but clearly we're seeing an increase again. For those of you not on campus, not so tuned into campus life, classes began on Wednesday, so we're early in the semester, obviously, and it would not be too surprising to see cases increase over the next week or two. Hopefully not to the extent we saw them a year ago, but it's likely as you bring 30,000 people together that we will have an increased incidence of cases. So that's a snapshot of the Knoxville campus. And let me pull up, gosh, and I've got to change my screen a little bit. This chart has gotten so big, it may be hard for you to see the right-hand side of it. But this is a summary of where we've been in the Institute going back also to August of 2020. And as you can see, we enjoyed a good period of time between late April and early August where we had no positive cases. But since early August, we've seen an increase in cases as well. And today, throughout the Institute, we have 9 positives among employees. This does not include any students. So 9 positives among employees. And I don't have the isolation chart because that data got real foggy over the last few months. But today we have 9 individuals in isolation or quarantine as well. Most of those isolations, the majority, in fact, are indicating no symptoms. They're simply close contacts and isolating out of an abundance of caution. So these numbers, obviously, we just as soon see zeros to continue, but at this point, we do have some positive cases throughout the Institute and largely off campus at this point in time. If we take a look at the national perspective, no big surprise here. You've been seeing and hearing about it in the news, I'm sure. Early August, we start to see a spike in cases once again. We're not to the level that we saw last winter, but we're certainly seeing an increase nationally. I think the question is, will that curve continue to go up, or will we see it plateau, hopefully at a lower level than what we experienced over the winter? And time will tell whether that takes case or not. And the state is much the same situation. So this is the state of Tennessee data, very similar to the national data, where you see the spike since late July that's occurred here in this state, but again, not to the level of what we experienced last winter at this point. So we'll hope to see a plateau and a flattening of the curve very soon at the state and national level. And we'll certainly do the very best we can to moderate our incidence of cases at the campus and institute level as well. Finally, let me update you on our vaccine status. And I really hate to say we haven't made much progress since our last Fireside Chat a month ago. We have reached almost 50% of people statewide receiving one dose of the vaccine, and more than 40% who are fully vaccinated. So we've made some progress. And I just looked at the data also. It's not shown in this summary, but we're actually at 58% of adults have received at least one dose statewide. In other words, those 18 and over. So our adult population is continuing to increase in terms of the number vaccinated. Certainly with youth unable to be vaccinated, those under the age of 12, as a total population, our overall percentage is a bit lower. We've also seen some increased rates of vaccination recently, with the number of vaccines shifting to an increased number due to the spike in cases. So that's good news. We're seeing more people get vaccines. We'll be offering vaccine clinics again here on campus, and I expect we'll offer one even here on the Institute of Ag campus at some point again as well. So still plenty of opportunities for anyone who hasn't been vaccinated to be vaccinated. And it looks like increasingly there's support for boosters as well. And if the opportunity arises, I'd certainly endorse offering a booster vaccine clinic here on campus too. So we'll see what the future holds in that regard. So let me stop sharing that and follow up with just a few things. So as we think about increasing number of cases, we got to think about how to keep ourselves and others healthy and safe to some extent. Again, I think we're going to continue to emphasize our number one goal, and that is we're going to continue to teach classes. We're going to continue to conduct research. We're going to continue to deliver outreach and extension programs, and we're going to continue to serve our patients on a face-to-face basis. What we may have to do is consider some additional requirements or restrictions as we go forward in order to do that as safely as possible. But there is no plan, no intention to once again shift to virtual, nor to consider any sort of a shutdown. I think at this point in the pandemic, we've got a tool that we didn't have a year ago, and that is vaccination. We've got many people taking advantage of that, and we're just going to have to work through this in the coming weeks and months in order to continue to carry out our mission. So consider that we do have the vaccine tool at your disposal, and the other tool we have to work with is masks. So I would look certainly today, masks are being required on campus in classrooms and in laboratories for all students, faculty, and staff. And I'll just prepare you that I think we may be seeing it at some broader guidance with regard to masks next week, so that we do everything we can to mitigate any increases in our COVID numbers. So watch for something early next week with regard to COVID guidance. In the meantime, get vaccinated, wear a mask anytime you can't social distance in an indoor setting would be my recommendation. and just be cognizant of how to keep yourself and others that you work with safe, including those that we serve. So I'll stop right there in terms of a COVID update and pass it back to Lisa.
Well, Tim, we do have a couple of questions related to COVID, so we might as well go ahead and address those.
Sure.
One is, are there any plans or talks concerning mandating the vaccine for employees?
I'll share a personal opinion. I'd love to do that, but no, there are no plans and no conversations at all to mandate vaccines. I think clearly we're in a state where personal freedoms are valued, where everyone is encouraged to have the ability to do what's best for them in consultation with their healthcare provider. And at this point, there is no plan, no intention to require vaccines. And honestly, I think we'd be not permitted to do so clearly as an institution.
Got it. And then the other question was, are we able to work from home when we have to isolate, or do we need to take sick leave?
Yeah, if you have to isolate because of being a close contact and being unvaccinated, I think once again you need to work with your supervisor and make arrangements for that. We've demonstrated it is possible to be able to work remotely. What we're not going to do, though, is use that as a reason for everybody to go remote and everyone to work remotely all at one time. We need to deal with those situations on a case-by-case basis. And if you have been a close contact and are unvaccinated, then please report that on the self-isolation form. Talk with your supervisor and make arrangements to either conduct productive work from home or to take leave if you need to. So those are really our two options at this point.
And we did have one other question pop up, and that is on travel restrictions. Are there any talks of any sort of travel restrictions?
No conversation about travel restrictions, and I'd be very surprised if there were any. Other than, if you're going to fly somewhere, you're going to wear a mask, no doubt about that, both in the airport and on the airplanes. But beyond that, there are no travel restrictions in place, and none being considered, to my knowledge.
Great. Well, thank you for that. We did have one other question pop up now, and that is, do you feel that those who are vaccinated should not quarantine if exposed?
For those who are vaccinated, if they've been a close contact, CDC guidance actually says that there is no requirement to isolate. But what you should do is get a COVID test 3 to 5 days after the vaccination. But unvaccinated close contacts do not need to quarantine, but are encouraged to seek COVID-19 testing 3 to 5 days after exposure. So I think now, again, if out of an abundance of caution, you feel like it's very likely that due to a close contact, you're starting to feel symptomatic, by all means, any show of symptoms at all, any sense of being symptomatic, we'd certainly encourage you to isolate or quarantine in that situation. Now, I've just rattled off what I think is consistent guidance. Dr. White, did I go astray on anything there from what you've heard at the EOC?
No, sir. We're still waiting to hear. So right now, that's it. That's the message.
Good. Any other COVID questions while we're on it, Lisa?
We have addressed them. So thank you so much for doing that. And we can now move on to other news around the Institute. It's quite obvious there's quite a bit of building going on. So do you want to give us an update on our two projects?
Yeah, I'll do that. And let me just say too, if you think of some other COVID questions, we'll have another Q&A opportunity here. So don't feel like we're washing our hands of that topic. This is our chance to visit, and if something else occurs to you, by all means, please ask. I know it's a bit of a ambiguous situation today relative to maybe a year or two ago, but I'm very confident between vaccinations and masks and our experience working through this pandemic already, we'll be fine going forward. We'll certainly be able to carry out our responsibilities and be successful. So as far as construction updates go, for those of you that have been to campus recently, you'll see a bit of a mess, to be honest, as you travel on Joe Johnson Drive, but that's good news. That's progress being made. The Veterinary Teaching and Learning Center is coming up out of the ground very nicely. Steel is going up. That'll provide the framework for that building, and it's really starting to take shape. So that's great news for our College of Veterinary Medicine and Pendergrass Library as well, because this will be some real nice enhancements to our library space and our access to the library too. Our new engineering and environmental science research building is also making progress, but we can't quite see what that building is going to look like yet in terms of footprint, because they're still in the process of drilling and pouring pillars, foundation pillars, into the site itself. Those pillars are being drilled all the way down to bedrock, and I believe, if I remember right, there are more than 70 of those that are being drilled. So it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to do that, but the good news is all of that is underway and pretty much on schedule. The utilities work is underway and on schedule. And to this point, we've had both projects moving along very nicely, no major issues, no major setbacks. So lots of progress. And just as a reminder, if you go to the UTIA facilities webpage, you can look at a webcast, a live webcam showing progress on the science building. So if you want to see what it's looking like and what's changed over the last few weeks and even months, you can always do that. So that's, again, just an update from a campus perspective. For those of you off campus, you're not impacted as much on a daily basis by this. But when you come to campus next, it's very likely you'll find out that we've got 2 lanes restricted due to all this construction. So it's going to be a bit of a traffic bottleneck for a couple of years, but it'll all be worth it when we get both of these projects complete.
And Tim, we actually have a question regarding construction, and that is there any way to know when smaller projects such as the work in staff parking lot 60 will be completed?
Very good question. I'd like to know when all of our projects are going to be completed, but some of that is obviously subject to weather and staffing availability and so forth. Let me see if I can use a lifeline here. Steve Gloffenheim, are you on this morning?
No, he's on vacation. This
all
is Joe
right,
Cagle.
Joe, hey, there's my lifeline, Mr. Cagle. Anything you can share about that?
The coal bunkers, what they're fixing, that's what they're doing in staff lot 60. It should be done it'll be done by the end of September. They've assured me it'll be done by the end of September. It's a lot worse than they thought. They actually are building a wall with it inside, and then they're going in and filling it with concrete. The road it's got beams, and it's hot underneath the road right there, and the beams are starting to collapse. So that's the reason we had to close it, because it wouldn't save.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate the update. So for those not so familiar with campus, we've got a whole parking area that we had to close off a road that makes that parking area much more difficult to access. So good to hear that maybe by the end of September, we'll have that open again. We don't need any road collapses. So appreciate that work. Good. Anything else, Lisa?
That's it on that topic. I know something that everybody looks forward to every year, and hopefully we will be able to do this again, is Ag Day. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do. One of my favorite events, obviously, opportunity to get together our alumni, our folks right here on campus and from across the state, and celebrate our programs, research, education. And
Dr. Cross is saying that if you're quarantined, if you're vaccinated and you come in contact with it, doesn't matter. You're
Somebody's
fine.
audio is on.
Excuse me. So let's see. Ag Day, 4.5 hours prior to game time is when that'll take place, and we're making plans to proceed with Ag Day at this point. Obviously, if conditions change drastically, that may warrant a change in what we do for Ag Day. But with it being in Brim Arena and possibly close quarters, it may be a situation where we really have to stress guidance this year. But for right now, we're carrying on with all plans for Ag Day. The committee's working hard on it, I know. And that'll be the day of the Ole Miss game, I believe. So a good SEC football game to follow Ag Day this year. And I know there'll be more information provided, but meantime, put October 16th on your calendar. And as soon as game time is known, then we'll know what time Ag Day starts here as well.
Great. Thanks, Tim. We're really fortunate today to have Linda Martin joining us for the Fireside Chat. And Tim, I know you wanted to say a few words about Linda.
Yeah, I sure do. And Linda, thanks for joining us. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Linda Martin, I know you'll enjoy getting to know her and work with her. She officially begins as interim on September 1, but she's been just already rolling up her sleeves and involved in a number of things since really early August, and that's been very helpful. Very confident we'll have a smooth transition that really enables all of our programs to continue uninterrupted. Dr. Martin is currently already in a position as the Vice President for Academic Affairs and Student Success for the UT system, but her tenure home is right in the Herbert College of Agriculture's Department of Animal Science. So she's got a background that's really strongly in agriculture. She holds 3 degrees in animal science. She's been a faculty member at Kansas State University, an assistant dean at Oklahoma State University, and rose through the ranks and became associate dean at Ohio State University, each in their colleges of agriculture. So she already knows really what we do, how we do it, what the importance of our work is, and she understands also the huge presence we have around the entire state as well as here on campus. She has attended already several events, including the Farm Bureau President's Conference last week, where she got to meet a number of key leaders from across the state. So I just want to let you know how excited I am to see Dr. Martin be able to step in as our interim. I have complete confidence in her ability to provide just outstanding leadership for the Institute, while she also juggles a few of her responsibilities as Vice President for Academic Affairs. I know things will just carry on very nicely with her in this leadership role. And Linda, since you're on here this morning, I'd have said all that even if you weren't on here, I promise. But give you just a moment if you'd like to say anything to the group too.
Well, I would just, I appreciate the remarks. And I think that there's a lot of things happening right now. We're on a great trajectory with UTIA, some exciting initiatives that are underway, and we just don't want to lose that momentum. And I think it's a great opportunity because many of you see kind of the spots that they're not quite aligning with maybe UTIA and the larger campus. And so with a foot in both camps, both in the system level and at UTIA, I think we can address some of those things that have been challenges, maybe in a unique way. But I'm really looking forward to getting out and meeting folks and working with you. And please do not hesitate to reach out. I've got a full calendar already with meetings to get to know folks, and I have my email and my phone number is available to everybody, and I would encourage you to reach out, and if I don't get to you first, set up a time where I can meet you and learn about the initiatives that you're working on.
Great, thanks for being with us this morning, Linda. And as I said, she's already off to a great start. We won't miss a beat, and I agree with her assessment that we're on a positive trajectory. The thing we want to do is continue that, and I'm very confident that's exactly what will happen.
Great. Well, Tim, this is where we normally would take questions from the audience, and we addressed those earlier. And of course, you have to know that we wouldn't let this fireside chat pass without a few people saying a few words to you. So I am first going to ask Carla Beal if she would take the stage.
Thank you very much. Tim, I remember when you were first applying for this position, and someone said sometimes the good guys win, and the good guy did win. And you've been the pilot of a very large ship in certainly what's been turbulent waters, particularly over the last 2 years. And I don't think we could have been guided by anyone who was a better pilot, or maybe I should say captain of the ship. I know you're trading that big ship and that captain role in for a little bit smaller ship. Maybe I should call it a boat, and going from an ocean to a lake. But I hope you keep us in your heart, because we'll certainly keep you in ours. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your friendship, your vision, your humanity, and your kindness.
Thanks so much, Carla.
Thanks, Carla. Now I'll ask Dr. Stokes, Ashley Stokes, to say a few words.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a sad time to have this date near.
Your speaker.
No question. There's somebody.
And then it goes back to that.
Hello.
If you can, it's picking up you talking, the microphone.
Please mute your audio.
That's okay. It gave me a second to but Dr. Cross, with your path of coming up through extension, I mean, the impacts that you've made throughout your career in extension, they're just so far reaching. And, both on the scale of Tennessee, but also nationally and beyond. I think there's a lot of pride from extension, as I go out across the state, people have so much respect for what you've done. And I think there's a lot of pride in that you came from extension and have continued to serve even more broadly and have more broad impact. So it's just really tremendous. You lead with integrity. You also, kind of put zingers out there of jokes and make people laugh and make people really comfortable, even in really tough situations. And it's really an art in how you communicate and how you interact with people. People feel very valued by you. And I hear that a lot, and both internal within the organization, but externally too. You just have so many champions and so many people that are just respect you and all that you've done. And I know for me, it took me about 7 years to get to work with you. And I know it was short, but it's been awesome to work with you. And I really look forward to the future of being able to be in touch, keep you engaged with what all we do, and to continue that. So just thank you so much for everything that you've done for extension specifically, and also for Tennessee and beyond. I hope you really see and recognize the impacts that you've made. So wishing you the best, and we'll definitely be seeing you around.
Thanks so much, Ashley.
Thanks, Ashley. And Hong Wei, Dr. Shin, would you like to say something?
Of course. Thank you, Lisa. Dr. Cross, it's been a true pleasure and honor to work under your outstanding leadership to advance the UTI research enterprise for the past 2+ years, to be exact, 28 months. So with gratitude, congratulations on your 27 years of extraordinary service and leadership to UTIA, our state, and beyond. You have been, already being alluded to, leading the Institute with a vision, compassion, and dedication. So special kudos to you for leading us to navigate through this COVID challenges, while continuing to fulfill our UTI missions. So your compassionate nature and action have undoubtedly matched very well with your name initial, TLC. as administrators, we all understand that a lot of time folks don't necessarily care about how much we know, but they really want to know if we care. So, sir, you have certainly set a superb example in that regard because you know and you care. So we'll do our best to carry on the legacy you are leaving behind by committing ourselves to create real life solutions for the citizens of our state and beyond. So Tim, our very best wishes to you for a very happy and fulfilling retirement. We'll miss you.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Hongwei.
Thanks so much, Hongwei. Dr. Thompson had a conflict and could not make it, and he was very regretful to not be here, but wanted to extend his best wishes and will to you personally. So, but we're also glad to have Linda here, and I know Linda wanted to say a few words to you as well.
Tim, I've known you for decades, and I think that in all of my career, I've never known anybody to be more of a servant leader than you. You are the most selfless leader that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And I can tell you that the reputation of the state of Tennessee, the reputation of UTIA, and the work that we've done at the university rests squarely on Tim's shoulders. We are respected nationally because of the work that Tim has done and the leadership that he's provided, not only at home, but at the national level. And before I came to the University of Tennessee, I knew Tim for many, many years and always respected and admired the passion that he brought to what he did, the selfless nature with which he approached his work, and the difference he made. Though in our careers, we all hope that at some point in our career, we can have an impact. And there's no doubt, Tim, you will have a lasting impact, not only on with your colleagues here at UTIA, not only at UTK campus, but across the state, across the nation. And I hope as you look around, you can see your fingerprints all over the great things that you've been able to accomplish and the people that you've been able to touch. So thank you, Tim, and best of luck.
That means a lot, Linda. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Linda. And finally, I'm going to call on Dr. Keith Barber, who has an announcement.
Thanks, Lisa and Tim. I also echo the comments that have been made. Appreciate your leadership and your servanthood and the legacy that you're leaving behind. And in recognition of that, and I think everyone on the call was notified of this a few weeks ago at the end of July, when we were convinced that Tim was not pulling one over on us and convinced that he was going to leave, we announced that there's going to be an endowment in Tim's name in the Institute that would be used by the person filling the chair that he's in now to offer up financial support for issues that we may face throughout the Institute or opportunities that we may face, and that covers a gamut. And so I wanted to remind everybody about that. And Lisa, I sent you the links if you might want to put those in. This endowment will, once it meets its minimum qualifications, will be there in perpetuity, as I said. And many of you have already given to that, and we appreciate that. And I know Dr. Cross, knowing him as well as I do, will probably reach out to every person that's ever even thought about giving and say thank you. And I want to say that as well. But if you want to add to your commitment, or you want to make a commitment, we've got a couple of links. You can do that online, payroll deduction, or just making a gift online, or get in touch with one of us in the advancement office. So Tim, on behalf of the entire Institute, this is one of the few ways, and one of the maybe in certain perspectives, minuscule ways, but one of the great ways I think that we all could say thank you and say we appreciate what you've done. We're honored to have served with you, because I know that's the way you look at it, that you might be our leader, but you look like you act and respond and work alongside of us, everyone who's on here today and those who couldn't join us within the Institute and across the nation, as Linda so kindly put it. So we appreciate what you've done, and may this be a small tribute to your legacy. You will be gone from everyday work, but we know your legacy will live on, and this is one of the ways that we want to say thank you. So we appreciate you.
Love the endowment. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks so much, Keith. So Tim, I just want to say what a pleasure it's been to host these fireside chats with you over the past year and a half. I think everyone needs to know that this was your brainchild because you wanted a way to share the latest information on COVID with everyone as quickly as possible. And the name was even yours because you loved the whole idea of just being able to truly chat with everyone and let them know where we stood throughout that pandemic. And I know so many are grateful for this communication and especially for your leadership through the pandemic. So I just want you to know what an honor it's been to work for and with you. So for the last time, Tim, do you have any final remarks?
Well, my first final remark is none of this last section was on our script. So I've got a real issue with that. It's hard to know where to begin. And I've had so many great retirement receptions, recognitions, words of thanks, cards, letters, phone calls. I mean, it's honestly been overwhelming, the kind of response I've received. And I would be the first to say it's better than I deserve. I think as Keith mentioned, I've always viewed each of you as friends, each of you as coworkers. And I know for sure that nothing happens in the Institute unless our faculty and staff make it happen. Every one of you do the work that's so important to our Institute. So it's really been an honor and a privilege to work with you. To have this chance on a weekly or monthly basis to get together with 200 of my best friends was really a unique opportunity that honestly I've really enjoyed. Now when we were doing it once a week or so, maybe got a little tedious for all of us, but I hope it helped to keep everyone informed, and it certainly helped me to know what the issues were, what the concerns were. So that it was a great communication conduit, and I thank everyone for being willing to suffer through my remarks on a regular basis. I really can't thank each of you enough for the work you do, for the support you've given to me and to our leadership team, and that in itself is why, again, we're on a very positive trajectory and will continue to be. We've got an excellent leadership team in place. I would put our team against any team in the country in terms of other land-grant colleges of agriculture. Linda's been at a number of them. She's seen how things work in other places. I've gotten to know folks in other places, and they all have good people, don't get me wrong. But our willingness and desire to work together and to really lift all aspects of the organization as opposed to really being silo focused, I think sets us apart and will continue to elevate us in the future. So I'll be looking forward to watching those future successes. I'll show up on occasion from time to time in person. I see myself way too frequently on the back of a fan as I travel around campus in the state. It's scary to me. I can't imagine what it feels like to you. You probably all think I'm everywhere. What a scary thought. But I feel like to some extent I am everywhere because I've got so much friendship and support across the state. Could not have done this job without you. I wish each and every one of you the very best. I'll look forward to seeing you on occasion in the future. And thank you again for all the words, the cards, the gifts, the awards. I'm about 3 years behind on thank you notes right now. So that's one of my first plans in retirement is to get caught up. But meantime, please know that me and my family are so appreciative of all the opportunities we've had at the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture. Thank you. I'm not going to say goodbye because I'll hope to see you again, but I'm going to wish you all the very best.
So if those of you with a keen eye, I hope you saw that Dr. Cross has a lot of fans, even here sitting in my office. So thanks. Thanks so much, Jim, for everything. And thanks to everybody for joining today. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Take care.